Okay, good morning. I'm Pat Deer with PL Deer Studios, and I'm here today with Stacy Downing, and she's full disclosure, she's my sister. And I invited her to come because for Edible Heart, obviously the focus is heart illness and heart disease. And we had a young brother at the age of 23 pass away, which is with a heart disease that gave us the information that runs in our family. And luckily, I'm grateful that it didn't happen to be with me or my children, but that's not the case for a lot of our family members. So that's why I invited Stacy to share her experience with that. And so with this Edible Heart, and like most of what I do, I support a nonprofit. In this case, it will be the University of Michigan Cardiovascular Center and Cleveland Clinic transplant unit. So yeah, Stacy will be at the event and be able to share some of what she's going to be talking about there. So Stacy, tell me a little bit about yourself and maybe our family history.
Okay. Um, well, I am married, have an adult daughter and a wonderful grandson. And when I was 41, I, well, as you mentioned, Pat, of course, we had the family history with our our brother passing away from, they knew that there were heart problems. They didn't know exactly what it was or why. They just said hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which means an enlarged heart. But that was all that they could say. And then 2 years after that, our youngest brother had an episode where unexplained fainting, and he went to the hospital and found out basically that he did have something that would cause a heart arrhythmia and cause him to pass out as well. So I guess before I get into all of that, I'd like to explain that how the doctors explained it to me is that there are two things that can affect your heart. And one is what they call the plumbing, and that's the actual physical structure of the heart and how it works. And then the other piece is the electrical part of the heart. And that's what tells the heart to beat and when to beat. Our problem in our family is not so much with the physical part. It was more the electrical part of the heart, and that we had it's called Brugada syndrome, and it's something that would cause our heart, or can cause our heart, to beat erratically, and where it's fluttering so much that it's not really pumping blood. And because it's not pumping blood, you pass out and could die. So I guess when our first brother died, I was 32. And
he
then
was
when
only 23,
he was 22, yeah,
22. Okay.
yeah, he hadn't hit his, that year, if he had lived into October, he would have
Right.
been 23. But in any case, and then 2 years later, our other brother, as I said, got diagnosed and had a defibrillator implanted. In reading about heart arrhythmias, I kept hearing that it was more common in men and less likely in women. And so I didn't do anything about it. I didn't get it
Right.
checked out for myself. But when I was 41, there was an episode that happened at home, and where to this day, I'm just not quite sure why I'm still here.
Right.
I had an episode where my husband had gone to work, daughter went to school, I was at home by myself, and I started feeling really faint and dizzy and lightheaded. But I thought, well, maybe I need to sit down, and then maybe I need to eat, maybe I need to drink water. And this went on for quite a while. Nothing seemed to really affect it. And then all of a sudden, my peripheral vision started to go. So I kind of had like a tunnel vision of sorts. And why I didn't call 911, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't thinking
Right.
straight, but I just was thinking, wow, this is kind of weird. Well, in any case, I did tell my husband And then at some point we decided that I needed to get in and get my heart checked out. And at that point, I went to U of M. I made an appointment with Dr. Marati, who was a well-known electrophysiologist there. And again, electrophysiologists are cardiologists who specialize in the electrical part of the heart.
And I know you'll
And
share a lot of this when you come to the event also.
okay,
But to share a little bit more, how did they help us as a family? Because that was one of the things, they kept track of our whole family because it was kind of unusual to have so many members of one family have this illness at that time. It's more common now, right?
correct. In fact, well, wasn't very well known
Right.
at the time. Back in '98, when I went and spoke, and Dr. Marati came in and told me, what I was diagnosed with. I was the very first person at the University of Michigan that had presented with Brugada syndrome.
Okay.
And so, of course, since then, it's become better known, and of course, more people. So for our family, how the University of Michigan has helped, they've they've helped in just being there and really knowing what I guess I feel very confident in their knowledge and the information that they're sharing with us. And so not only myself, we're able to get genetic testing to determine whether or not we in fact do have it. And then our cousins, are able to do that, and their children and whatnot. So as a family, it's really, really nice to be able to have such a wonderful, well-known hospital with their doctors
Right.
that pretty accessible because of where we live. Instead of other people having to go hours and hours away, we're there and have world-class treatment options available.
And the beauty of this event and why I asked you and, my friend Kelly, who had a heart transplant, is that you'll be able to be there to answer questions. And I think one question a lot of people have is, what is it like to have a defibrillator? And I know you're really active. So has that kept you from being active? Because I think that's a concern for a lot of people.
Sure. Okay, I'll go back to first. How is it like to have a defibrillator?
Mhm.
And I've got this device right here in my chest. Um, when it was first implanted, of course, I understood the saving importance of it,
Right.
but it was interfering with some dresses that I might be wearing. I didn't
Right.
like that. So it interfered with that. And I suppose if I were younger, it might bother me more. But as I've gone on, I really don't even pay attention to it very much. It really hasn't impacted, having the defibrillator has not impacted my life. I suppose they do say there are, if because of the bike, what I do a lot of biking and long distance cycling, and so it really hasn't affected that at all. Uh, they say you should avoid high power areas, that type of thing, but it just hasn't affected my life in
Right.
the least. So that part has been fantastic.
Right.
And so I would, encourage people not to be afraid to do it because it's something that you do get used to. And I'm just very grateful that it's available and that it's there if I
Right.
need it.
Thank you for sharing all that. And, we could talk for a long time, but that's part of why we're having this event. On the 6th, Stacy, you'll be able to talk for about 10 minutes, but everybody that's there will also be there to answer questions, which is really the powerful part of it. Just speaking is half of it. Answering questions that people have is like a really big part of it. So, and hopefully I'll be able to get some information from the University of Michigan as well, that if somebody wants it, they can pick it up and take that too. So, is there anything else you want to share before we sign off here?
No, sorry, I got a little long-winded at the beginning, but
No, no, it's okay. There's so much to say,
uh,
that's all right. But, and because of that, people can come and ask questions and even email me if they want to, and I can pass those questions on to you if they're not able to come. But it's
Okay.
April 6th from 2 to 5 at St. John's Lutheran in Adrian. And anybody who's speaking will be there to answer questions. So I will put the links to those things on this video as well. So I just want to thank you for sharing it because it's a very personal story.
And you're very welcome, and thank you for having this. I think the more information you can get out there about all of the different heart conditions that
Right.
could affect people and our options and opportunities for treatment and diagnosis are really, really important. So thank you.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, we'll see everybody.